Everyone thinks Alicia du Valois is an angel sent from heaven with her golden hair that shines like sunlight, and her bright smile could warm the coldest hearts. Beneath her outer shell, however, she is a stone-cold bitch who dreams of becoming the biggest villain in the world, and her dreams come true when she is transported into a different world and tries to become the greatest villain in history. It turns out that this ordinary 7-year-old girl is reincarnated as the eldest daughter of the high-ranking Williams family and has 3 charming elder brothers. Now, when everything is set, she doesn't want to waste time to become a perfect villainess of this fantasy world. So she quickly runs off to her brothers and asks them to teach her sword fighting. But her brothers push her away, asking her to build her strength and come back later. So, Alicia runs off to the royal library and starts learning about magic that exists in this world that only the nobles are allowed to use. This world has 5 basic forms of magic, and the nobles who excel in all these are called the 5 great noble families. These families serve the king directly and function as the pillars of the kingdom, and she learns that her family excels in dark magic. Soon, Alicia adopts a strict schedule by waking up at the crack of dawn, starting her mornings with push-ups to build her strength. In the afternoons, she buries herself in books. It feels like she's on a mission, and her new discipline and determination leave everyone around her both amazed and confused. One morning at breakfast, everyone keeps asking Alicia about what she keeps herself busy with the entire day. But she keeps dismissing them because she can't tell them about her past life and her mission to become a villainess. She soon learns that her brother Albert is going to take a tour of the Magic Academy, which means her sword training will have to wait until he returns home. In the afternoons, after immersing herself in books about plants, magic, and the mysteries of this new world, Alicia escapes to the garden for a break. It's during one of these strolls that she encounters 4 striking figures, and she immediately recognizes them from her past knowledge of the gaming world. There's Eric, the fiery redhead from the Hudson family, a master of fire magic. Then Finn, the golden-haired intelligent son of the Smith family, known for his light magic. Gale, with his quiet and scholarly outlook, who holds the wind magic and has the air of a brilliant but introverted genius. There's Curtis, the calm and grounded magician who channels the energy of nature with his green magic. Finally, there is the ice-cold Prince Duke, the charismatic heir to the throne who masters water magic, and Alicia already knows that he will end up winning the heroine in the end of this game. She quickly dashes toward the group and confidently introduces herself to the prince and the 4 nobles. Wasting no time, she turns to her brothers and demands they fulfill their promise to teach her sword fighting. They burst into laughter, teasing her for being too weak to handle a sword. But Alicia isn't one to back down, and with a determined spark in her eyes, she snatches the sword from her brother's grip, swiftly kicks a nearby tree to drop an apple, and slices it cleanly in half mid-air, proving once and for all that she's no wimp. A year after the incident, Alicia's brothers begin teaching her the art of swordsmanship, and she has made it a habit to practice her swings well every day. Over time, her grip on the sword has grown steadier and her movements have become more confident. But as the years go by, Alicia can't help but notice Prince Duke's frequent visits to their home. He often lingers in the background, watching her from behind the pillars, his gaze fixed at her as he carefully observes her progress. He sometimes strikes up small conversations, offering words of encouragement and showing great interest in her. One day, the king calls a meeting with nobles from all the royal families to discuss the worsening conditions in the village of Lona. The nobles inform him that life in the village has become poor, but sending aid immediately could upset the kingdom's people, as Lona has a notorious reputation as a safe place for criminals. They also inform the king that he urgently needs to locate the legendary Golden Rose, which is a symbol of hope for the kingdom. Amidst these discussions, the king turns to Alicia's father with a request that he wishes for Alicia to visit Finn's place for a tea ceremony. Having heard much praise about her, the king is looking forward to meeting her in person. The nobles who have heard glowing reports about Alicia from their sons wish to see her too. The next morning, Alicia comes to Finn's place and he happily greets her. He asks Alicia to follow him to the main room where they are expecting more guests. When Alicia enters the room, she is greeted by the prince and the nobles, all waiting for the king to arrive. Soon the king enters the room and a nervous Alicia kindly greets him. The king asks Alicia what she feels about the current position of the kingdom of Durkees, and Alicia anxiously wonders why the king would ask an 8-year-old about politics. But she realizes that it might be a test from God to find if she can be a great villain or not. So she takes a deep breath and answers that the kingdom of Durkees is a major power, but it cannot be called a good nation. She proceeds to act like a real villain and ruthlessly tells the king that even though they have a strong economy, the majority of the money lies with the nobility, creating a serious wealth gap between the rich and the poor. And as far as the village of Lone is concerned, the people of that village can't even afford bread and milk for the next day, and this leads to a growing discontent towards the nobility, which might soon take the shape of revolt. Hearing her critical analysis, everyone looks at her with awe, so the king asks her to give a solution for the problem. Alicia advises the king to take advantage of their neighboring kingdom Clavera's gold mines. Since Calvera is still ruled by a foreign kingdom, it would be best to fund Clavera's independence and start trading with it. The funding will force Calvera to come under Durkee's debt, and to repay Durkee's, Calvera will be forced to trade with them at cheaper prices. That means they should build a relationship of superiority with Calvera to make profits in trading with them. While everyone agrees with her, Alicia mentally praises herself for becoming a villainess who uses others to make profit, and this is something a goody two-shoes heroine will never do. And one day, according to the story of the game, she will come face to face in a battle with the heroine. Soon, the king praises Alicia for her brainy answers and leaves the room praising her. On his way to the royal palace, the king learns from his minister that the golden rose has been found and he needs to call another meeting. Finn takes Alicia to the garden to let her enjoy snacks and tea, which she heartily gobbles away. But little does she know that the ice-cold prince is observing her from a distance with a smile on his face. After a joyful time at Finn's place, Alicia is all set to return home, but surprisingly, Prince Duke comes to her and gives her a diamond necklace as a present. The next day, the king calls the meeting of the nobles and shows them a beautiful golden rose. The owner of the rose is a baker in the castle town who saw the rose bloom when her daughter was born, so this means that her daughter is the saint. A saint is a girl who will join the ruler to guide the people and save the world. An extraordinary rose blooms when the one who controls the kingdom's faith is born, just like a blue rose bloomed when Prince Duke was born. The king declares that now they have found the owners of both the roses and their kingdom will soon prosper, but such a transformation will come with a heavy price. Alicia runs off to the library to inspect the map of Lone Village and decides to go there personally and inspect the conditions. However, she knows that she won't get permission to visit that dangerous village alone, so she sneaks out in the middle of the night. After crossing a dark forest, she finally reaches the village and scrunches her nose at the poor conditions. She observes homeless people, unhygienic conditions, and broken huts. But suddenly a blind man appears behind her, causing her to take out her dagger in self-defense. But the man assures her that he means no harm. He asks Alicia's reason for visiting the village, and she replies that she wanted to see everything with her own eyes. The blind man takes her to his hut and introduces himself as Will, telling her that he already knows that she is a noble. Despite being blind, the old man knows everything about nobles because he used to work at the royal castle. But he was banished to this village because he spoke rudely to an upper-class man. Soon Alicia realizes that Will is a well-learned man who can teach her ways of life, so she tells him everything about her dream of becoming a villainess. She even promises to keep visiting him as much as she can. A year passed and Alicia is slowly growing up to become a fine young villainess. For the past 2 years she has continued to read books, learn swordsmanship, and visit Grandpa Will periodically. When her brother Albert turned 15, he enrolled in the Magic Academy where the game will continue, and Alicia knows that Prince Duke and the heroine must have met by now. She wonders if they have fallen in love, so she can get a chance to face off with them as a villainess. One day Master Eric takes her for a town visit and her brother Henry joins them too. They visit Eric's friend's plant shop first, and Alicia brags about her knowledge of plants like a real villainess, but everyone finds her cute. Paul, the plant shop owner, is a cheerful young fellow who belongs to a lower class of nobles and quickly becomes Alicia's friend. When Alicia returns home, she eagerly asks her brothers and father for permission to take part in a sword fighting ceremony. However, they refuse, insisting that a 10-year-old shouldn't put herself in such danger. Frustrated by their response, Alicia crosses her arms and huffs in anger and complains about being treated as a child all the time. One morning, Alicia visits the village of Lone and is horrified by the conditions she sees. As she walks through the village, she notices a group of people brutally beating a small boy, and she is about to intervene when Grandpa Will stops her. Alicia protests, determined to save the child who appears to be on the verge of death, but Will holds her back. Together, they bring the injured boy to Will's hut and treat his wounds, but despite their efforts, the boy remains unconscious. With a heavy sigh, Will explains that such incidents are common in Lone, where good medicines are not available and the sick rarely get proper care. He shares that he teaches local boys writing and arithmetic, including this boy, Gil, who is an orphan. Although only 6 years old, Gil is exceptionally bright. However, children born in Lone are labeled as criminals from birth, and they are denied access to proper education. Alicia returns home, her heart weighed down by the difference between her life and Gil's. She realizes how fortunate she is to have a loving family and access to the best education, while Gil's life is full of hardship and injustice. She knows that villainess is not someone who saves people, but she can't just keep waiting for the heroine to bring peace and happiness. She hurries to Paul's herb shop and asks for a packet of Joja plant, known for treating fevers. Paul, with a kind smile, hands her the packet without accepting any payment. Grateful, she takes the medicine to Grandpa Will to help treat Gil. But despite her good deed, she can't help feeling disheartened that she is not doing enough to become the greatest villainess. The next day, Alicia begins spending even more time in the library in order to master magic as quickly as possible. Her long-held dream of achieving greatness makes her push past her limits. One afternoon, as she flips through dusty books, something extraordinary happens and a hidden section of the library, which is filled with ancient magical books, suddenly reveals itself before her eyes. Excited by the discovery, Alicia dives into the books so she can uncover their secrets. As she reads, she learns that magic is divided into various levels. Each level becomes more powerful and challenging. She finds that levels 50 and above require the power of the 5 great noble families. To her amazement, she also discovers that the highest recorded magic level is 100. However, in one section of the games she played, the prince and the princess managed to exceed level 100 together, which is like achieving an unmatched level of magical power. Alicia knows that, as the villainess in this story, she is designed to fall short of the heroine in every way. But she refuses to let anything hold her back, and with a renewed determination, she sets her sights on mastering magic and starts from the basics. She begins practicing level 1 magic, which involves making an object float in the air. After days of continuous effort, she successfully advances to level 5, where she learns to move objects around with precision. While taking a much-needed break from her hard practice, Alicia's father unexpectedly approaches her with important news that the king has arrived to see her, and he has brought with him the 5 heads of the noble families. Alicia can hardly contain her excitement because after 2 long years, she will finally get another chance to take the test and prove herself. Soon the king arrives, and Alicia greets him and the 5 noble heads. He asks Alicia what she thinks about the way their kingdom operates, and Alicia's thoughts rush back to the poor conditions of Lona village and the wounded boy Gil. Alicia seriously replies that she hates the way nobles and poor are treated differently in this kingdom, because just being born in a noble family places even the uneducated and stupid ones at the top of the hierarchy. Hearing her talk like that about the nobles, the heads lash out in anger, but the king asks Alicia to continue speaking. Alicia asks for forgiveness and clarifies that a noble needs to have mana to use magic. But not all nobles know about politics. She adds that the commoners are never given a chance to prove themselves, no matter how talented they are, and this magic-based class system is a waste of talent and energy. Realizing that the nobles are getting angry with Alicia's reasoning, Prince Duke asks his father to leave. But he asks Alicia that whatever she said applies to her as well because she belongs to one of the 5 noble families too. Alicia replies that she is well aware of this fact, and she also knows that she was born in a good family because of her good luck. But to prove herself best amongst other talented people, she is ready to take any test. The king is satisfied with her well-reasoned replies and praises her for her knowledge and wisdom. Soon, Alicia walks out of the room and breathes a sigh of relief. She is still unsure if she answered the questions like a villainess, but she is happy that the test is over. But suddenly, she feels weak in her legs and collapses because of overwork. However, a worried Prince Duke quickly catches her in his arms and takes her to her chamber. Alicia slowly awakens, her eyes adjusting to the surroundings. Her gaze lands on the handsome prince standing by the window. As soon as Duke notices Alicia is awake, he walks toward her and gently lifts her into his arms, asking her to take her medicine. However, Alicia is still weak and struggles to do so. In a surprising move, the prince takes some potion into his mouth and without hesitation, kisses her while helping her drink the medicine. Alicia is taken aback, her cheeks flushing as the intimate gesture leaves her heart racing. After some time, Alicia's fever goes down and she recovers completely. But her mind keeps going back to the prince's intimate kiss and blood rushes to her face. However, she shakes her head and tells herself that it was just a gesture to help her drink her medicine, and she should not try finding deeper meaning to that. Moreover, she believes that the prince treats her no more than her little sister, and she is happy with that. In the afternoon, Alicia decides to sneak into the Magic Academy and look for the heroine of the game. She skips through the gardens and finally reaches the beautiful academy, but soon she is lost. While she is looking for a way to find the school, a young girl who appears older than her in age approaches her. The cheerful girl introduces herself as Liz Cather, a commoner whose family owns the town bakery. Alicia wonders how a commoner can enter a magic academy, and suddenly she realizes that Liz is the heroine of the game. The heroine didn't have a name or any visuals in the game, so Alicia couldn't recognize her at first. She knows that in the game, the heroine entered the academy with a scholarship based on her merit. Then Liz asks for Alicia's name, and then she takes Alicia with her to the main building. But while they are on their way, some of Liz's friends spot her, and Alicia quickly runs off to hide to avoid getting caught. Soon she sees Prince Duke walking towards Liz, who tells him that she just came across a cute little girl, and Alicia wonders if Liz will end up with Prince Duke as the game proceeds. Soon the bell goes off for the classes and Alicia rushes to the academy's library. Her eyes shine in excitement and her jaws drop in surprise after seeing a massive collection of books. Soon the news of a wise little girl dropping in the academy spreads like wildfire and students start rushing in to have a look at Alicia, who is writing a super tough answer on the blackboard. The news reaches the prince and Alicia's brother Albert too, and they rush into the classroom and Alicia gets a good scolding from him. Alicia is sent back home, and while she is walking towards her room, she hears her father speaking to a noble in a hushed tone. When she peeps inside the room, she realizes that they are talking about Liz, the heroine whose powers are extraordinary, and she is most likely the Divergent. Alicia rushes into the room and assures the noble that she will keep their talk a secret, but she tells them that Liz is not someone who will bring harm to the kingdom. After saying this, she rushes off to her room, realizing that the 5 great nobles now have their eyes on the heroine, and she needs to quicken up her plans too in order to become a villainess. The next day, while Alicia is practicing level 10 of the dark magic, Albert rushes in and invites her to join them for a tea party. As soon as Alicia walks out of the room, she is greeted by Liz, who cheerfully starts chatting away with them. Later, when they walk inside the party room, the prince asks Alicia to sit beside him. All of them ask Alicia to give in her ideas for the Academy Fest, and Alicia tries to think like a villain to come up with wicked ideas for Liz. But she decides to face the heroine fair and square and remember her dignity as the villainess. So in the end, she ends up asking Liz to use all her magical elements to perform on the stage, hoping that a humble heroine will quickly decline her offer. But Liz happily agrees to do so, and everyone looks clearly impressed by Alicia's offer. Surprisingly, she asks Alicia to join her, but she declines, and when Liz keeps on insisting, Alicia raises her voice to declare that she shouldn't force anyone to get along with her, especially when they are not friends. Everyone looks at her in surprise and Liz gets tears in her eyes, but she smiles and asks Alicia to spend more time with her so they can become good friends. Having no other option, Alicia agrees, thinking that there is nothing wrong with getting to know the heroine. Liz soon starts asking Alicia dull questions about food and flowers, making the conversation feel painfully boring. Wanting to liven things up, Alicia decides to use a little magic. With a snap of her fingers, a flower pot filled with Liz's favorite daisies floats gracefully through the air toward her. Alicia plucks one of the flowers and hands it to Liz with a playful smile. The room falls silent, and all eyes turn to Alicia because everyone is stunned since no one has ever seen a 10-year-old perform such advanced magic before. Whispers spread like wildfire as everyone in the room exchanged puzzled and astonished glances. The atmosphere in the room suddenly shifts, taking on a more serious tone. A sense of unease creeps in as they begin to wonder if Alicia could be the Divergent that the kingdom has been searching for. Albert, clearly concerned, steps forward and sternly tells Alicia to return to her room immediately. Liz, sensing the tension, reassures Alicia with a warm smile and promises that her brother will handle everything. Though puzzled by the sudden change in mood, Alicia nods and quietly leaves the room, her thoughts swirling with curiosity about what had just happened. That night, Alicia visits Grandpa Will and shares everything that happened earlier in front of the noble's sons. Will listens carefully and explains that everyone was shocked because most people can't use magic until they turn 13, while Alicia is only 10. He then reveals that he once knew someone who could use magic at a very young age as well. However, that person's ambition led to their downfall, and they perished while attempting level 100 magic far too early. Concerned for her safety, Will advises Alicia to master magic step by step, progressing through the levels in order. Alicia nods in agreement, understanding the importance of his advice. As they talk, Gil stirs awake for the first time since his illness. Will introduces Alicia to him, mentioning how she brought him medicine while he was unconscious. Alicia greets Gil warmly, but he remains silent. Will explains that the trauma of the brutal events Gil faced has shattered his trust in people. Alicia wonders if Liz, with her genuine kindness, could help restore Gil's faith. But then, remembering her villainous goals, she pushes the thought aside and she steps up to Gil and coldly declares that if he intends to isolate himself and run away from life like a coward, he might as well die. Startled and angry, Gil shouts at her that a noble like her knows nothing about his miserable conditions. Alicia smirks and replies that someone as pathetic as him doesn't deserve to live long, and she'll gladly kill him. Raising her hand to cast dark magic, she is suddenly hit in the face by a pillow Gil throws at her in frustration. To his surprise, Alicia smiles and tells him he's shown courage and is capable of fighting for himself. Promising to support him, she even offers to take him away from the village if he wishes. When Gil asks why she is being kind, Alicia simply states that she intends to use him as a resource because he's intelligent. Gil smiles for the first time and agrees, saying he's happy to repay her kindness. The next day, the king holds a meeting with the nobles informing them about Alicia's ability to use magic at a very young age and she might be a divergent. He asks her father to keep Alicia under observation and make sure that she is trained to maintain control over her magic. On the other hand, Alicia learns from Albert that Liz's mana went out of control the other day while practicing for her stage performance, but the professors there helped her gain control. Alicia is glad that Liz is fine because she needs her to be her rival in the future. Slowly as days passed, Alicia is kept under strict observation and taught to control her magic. Her father informs her that the king has suggested that they should accelerate her entry into the Magic Academy. As a special exception, she will be permitted to enroll at the age of 13, so she should keep working hard. After 3 years, when Alicia turns 13, she goes to meet the king again, and he gasps in surprise when he learns that Alicia has reached magic level 80 and approves of her entry into the academy. But he asks Alicia to keep a watch on Liz Cather. The king asks her about the legend of the saint, and having played this game in the other world, Alicia knows everything by heart. She tells them that the legend talks about a girl who is the beloved of gods who will work for the royal family and bring prosperity to the nation of Durkeys. The king asks Alicia about her impression of Liz, and she replies that she is a kind-hearted girl like a lovely field of flowers. The king hands over a few documents to Alicia and asks her to guide Liz towards becoming a responsible saint. Before Alicia can accept the king's offer, her father declares that he is against it because Alicia will be too burdened with studying and guiding Liz at the same time. The king tries to reason with Alicia's father, saying that even though Liz is loved by the people of the kingdom, this love has turned into an obsession, making it almost impossible for anyone to speak against her. Hearing this, Alicia accepts the king's offer and gets ready to enter the academy. When Alicia tells Will about everything that happened, he becomes a bit worried, but she reassures him that she didn't agree to do this work for free. She made the king accept her conditions, and one of them is taking Gil along with her to the academy as her servant because she doesn't want Gil's extraordinary talents to go to waste. Then Alicia looks at Gil and excitedly tells him that a villainess like her picked him herself, so he should be greedy enough to grab the chance quickly. When Will tells her that no one has ever left this village, Alicia replies that soon many people will be able to leave this place because the saint has her eyes on the village of Lona, and soon change will take place. She asks Will to go work at the castle again, but Will politely declines her offer, saying that he is a criminal after all, so he should accept his fate and stay here. As Alicia makes her way home through the forest, she suddenly freezes in shock as something grabs her ankle. Looking down, she sees a girl lying on the ground, her body covered in severe burns and bruises. Without a moment's hesitation, Alicia gently scoops the girl into her arms and sprints toward the nearest fountain, hoping to find clean water to tend to her wounds. However, when she arrives, her heart sinks as the fountain is clogged with garbage and filled with filthy, murky water. She uses dark magic to make the water sparkling clean again and starts cleaning the girl's wounds. Hearing the commotion, Grandpa Will and Gil run towards her, asking what she is up to. Sensing everyone's eyes on her, Alicia creates a barrier around her with Grandpa Will, Gil, and the girl inside it. Soon Alicia starts inspecting the girl's wounds and realizes that one of her legs is infected and feels helpless as no magic will heal her completely. Alicia stares at an almost lifeless girl in worry, fearing that she can't save her with her magic alone. Seeing her upset, Will encourages her by saying that if she wishes to become a great villainess, she can't give up until the end. Hearing this, Alicia is filled with a newfound confidence and starts using her dark magic, which can soothe inflammation. Soon thunder and lightning strikes inside the barrier, and the girl screams in pain with Alicia's incredible magic power entering her body. After that, Alicia uses her sword to cut off the infected leg, and after some time the girl wakes up and thanks Alicia. The girl introduces herself as Rebecca, and Alicia asks her to become her personal informant in order to repay her kindness. Soon she takes Rebecca in front of the villagers and announces that she will be their savior from now on. Alicia departs the village with Gil, urging him to walk with pride. Together, they head toward her home, where she bids a heartfelt farewell to her father. With determination in her eyes, Alicia sets off for the academy, embracing the journey ahead with hope and a sense of purpose. After some time they reach the academy, and everyone starts whispering about Alicia, and Gil saying that her servant is an orphaned commoner. She soon comes across Liz's friends, who start being a bit too friendly with Alicia, so she uses her villainous charms to stop them. The girls get a bit offended and complain to Liz about it, but Liz knows that Alicia doesn't like being friendly with anyone, so she just smiles and asks Alicia to not hurt anyone and apologize to them. But Alicia declares that she won't apologize and walks away like a diva. A worried Gil asks if it was a good idea to disagree with Liz in front of so many people, so she replies that it is a perfect introduction of villainess. But before she can say anything further, she disappears from in front of Gil and soon lands in front of the prince in the library. The prince traps her between her extended arm and flirtatiously asks her why she didn't decline the king's offer. Alicia activates her villainous charm again and replies that since it was the order of the king to keep a watch on Liz, she is doing nothing wrong. The prince looks at her with soft eyes and soon takes out the diamond necklace he gifted to her from her unfurmose collars. Alicia holds her breath, assuming that an angry prince will tear it off from her neck, but to her surprise, he softly kisses the diamond, happy that Alicia is still wearing something that he gifted her a long time back. Then he moves even more closer to Alicia and whispers in her ears that she is an adorable girl who keeps blushing. This intimate moment with the king leaves Alicia a blushing mess, but she manages to push him off, saying that acting like this is a breach of etiquette. Then she runs off, wondering why the prince did something like this with her when he must be with Liz, the woman he loves. Soon she takes Gil and walks towards the academy garden, where Liz is having tea, surrounded with boys, seeming like a total fan club. Seeing Alicia, Liz asks her to join her for tea, but Alicia dismisses her, saying that she has a copy of Liz's brilliant essay on the village of Lone, and she wishes to discuss something with her on the same. When Liz agrees to help her, she asks if she believes that all people are equal and the hierarchy given to them by the nation is a problem. Liz nods in agreement, saying that they should get rid of the wall around Lona because it symbolizes poverty. Once freed, the people can live happily and the citizens will be happy to have more neighbors, and that will eliminate inequality. Alicia throws the papers in the air in annoyance, saying that her essay is too unrealistic and shallow that she struggled to read until the end. Everyone looks at Alicia in anger, and a scared Liz asks what she finds unrealistic in her essay. Willing to argue with Liz, Alicia replies that destroying a wall will not eliminate inequality, but it will create a problem of public order. The people of the village hold on to years of resentment for being treated unfairly and being oppressed. Liz kindly replies that people should forgive each other, but Alicia cuts her off, saying that her idealistic arguments will not change anything, and she needs to recognize reality. Everyone looks in surprise and anger since they can't hear anyone mocking Liz, but no one can dare to speak against Alicia's wise arguments. Alicia adds that she is just pointing out the flaws in her essay, and she is surprised that no one did it before because everyone is blinded by love for her. The prince looks at Alicia with a satisfied smile, clearly enjoying every bit of it. Then Alicia points out that Liz is blessed with good looks, charming personality, a lot of mana, and that means inequality is present everywhere, and it pushes people to work harder. If people are no longer praised for their efforts in the name of equality, then that will be unfair to everyone. She accuses Liz of doing thoughtless lip service that burdens the weaker sections. Liz declares that she will not give up on her ideals because she wants a world where everyone can be happy. But she is ready to take up Alicia's criticism. Alicia smirks at her, saying that she wanted to have a more constructive debate, and then she proudly walks away. Soon Alicia becomes well known in the academy as a nasty girl who bullied Ms. Liz and took advantage of her kindness. She has become hated enough to cause unrest in the academy. Whenever she walks through the corridors, everyone looks at her like she committed a crime and starts whispering behind her back. Gil asks Alicia why everyone favors Liz, and she replies that she has attracted everyone with her kindness and idealistic values, but given her current state, she needs more time to train Liz better. At night, Alicia and Gil go to Lona Village, and they all gather in Grandpa Will's home. Alicia asks Rebecca if she has gathered villagers' stories, and she replies that she did, and as expected. There are a lot of negative emotions amongst the village folks. The more negative ones are even saying that if given a chance to get out of the village, they will plunder and loot everything. Hearing this, Alicia asks Rebecca to take care of herself too, especially when she can't run well if something bad happens. Rebecca reassures her that no one will try to harm her since they know that Alicia, the great noble, is backing her. She adds that even though the people of the village have given up on changing its situation, seeing someone like her, who defeated death and came back to life, some of them are filled with newfound hope, and this can bring a good change. She asks Alicia if it's possible for the villagers to be set free, and Alicia replies that thanks to Liz's determination and her essay, there is a growing public interest towards this matter. Hearing this, Will says that change doesn't happen overnight, so they both don't have to rush things, and Alicia and Liz agree with him. Soon Rebecca asks Alicia if she can bring some crops from outside that can be grown in the village, and Alicia quickly declines, saying that a villainess like her cannot go on giving handouts. But soon she finds the idea interesting and agrees to bring crop seeds to Rebecca, but she has to report everything to her. A few days later, when Alicia is busy writing a report, Henry enters her room and tries to start a small talk with her. Alicia looks at him and asks if he has come alone, because lately she hasn't seen him with brother Alan much. Henry replies that he has put some distance between himself and Alan because they have been together since they were born, so he was sure that he knows him better than anyone else. But once they entered the academy, no matter what they did, Alan kept on talking about Liz all the time, and he feels that he doesn't know Alan anymore. But then Liz told Henry that it's alright if Alan and Henry don't think alike anymore, and all Henry needs to do is be himself, so he will be irreplaceable. Henry felt like someone poured cool water in his dry throat, and he was saved by Liz. Hearing this, Alicia is visibly annoyed and asks Henry if he has come to her to talk about Liz's greatness. But Henry laughs and says that he has actually come to tell her the opposite, because when he saw her defeat Liz in the debate back in the academy, he knew that Alicia is correct in her arguments. But everyone else said that she was just picking a fight, and when he told his twin brother Alan that Liz's logic is a bit childish, he walked away in anger, and this made him realize that he no longer knows Alan as his twin or as a person. Since then, he hasn't felt like following Liz or hanging out with her anymore. After a long rant, he asks what Alicia was planning while picking a debate with Liz, and she replies that it was nothing much. Henry laughs at his little sister and says that he won't be fooled anymore by her. But for now, he will stop pressuring her into telling him anything. Before leaving, he tells Alicia that there is an invitation from the king for a garden tea party, and Liz will be there too. The next week, Alicia and her brothers reach the royal palace, and while walking through the hallway, her brother warns her to not act like a child and speak nonsense in front of the king. Alicia knows that a tea party with the king is not an ordinary tea party, but an event in the game itself that is known as the Saint Test. In this, they are supposed to choose a correct answer. But strangely in the game, the villainess was not invited. Yet in this tea party, Alicia is invited by the king. Soon they enter a large banquet hall that is lined with a huge table, and Alicia comes face to face with her rival Liz. Seeing them, Liz exclaims in joy that she is glad to see Alicia here. But instead of greeting her politely, Alicia goes on to say that it must be unfortunate for Liz to have Alicia in front of her. Liz quickly disagrees, saying that she is delighted to have her. Master Finn smiles in amusement and says that it's funny that no one can make out if Alicia and Liz are friends or enemies. Hearing this, Liz happily replies that they are friends, while Alicia disagrees, saying that they are not friends at all. Soon, the king and Prince Duke enter the room, and everyone stands to pay their respects, thanking the king for inviting them. The king replied that he just wanted to thank them all for being his son's friends, and they can relax and have fun. However, Alicia cannot seem to relax at all when she sees Liz smiling and acting all goody in front of the king. She knows that in the game one needs to have a high score in Saint Test to unlock the true ending, but she could never relate with the goody two-shoes heroine's answers. She looks at her surroundings and observes that everything seems to be just like the game, except her attendants. Her brothers have come to hate her except Henry. Moreover, Master Gale and Master Eric are already hating her in the open, while Master Finn and Curtis are behaving just like they did in the game by keeping her and Liz at safe distance to avoid conflict. But the one who is acting is very strange in Prince Duke, because in the game he only smiles at the heroine and stays cold to Alicia, but it's different in the game. While she is lost in her thoughts, the king's voice interrupts as he reminds her of the other day when she predicted the economic downfall of Durin 3 years ago when she snuck into the academy. The king says that things are proceeding just like she predicted, and he is surprised that she was able to make that judgment at a very young age. Alicia replies that the productive capacity and the buying capacity of the kingdom are in disagreement, and the measures that Liz proposed 4 years ago were not of much use. Anyone could have guessed that after 3 years, the gap will increase, and assuming everything will be resolved in a few years without looking at the problems is one of Liz's weak points. Alicia tries to act like a real watcher of Liz, just like the king asked her before. She adds that if Durin collapses, their kingdom Durkees will also face problems, and Liz replies that they should form an alliance with Durin. But Alicia disagrees with her, saying that they should take over Durin to protect themselves from a bigger rival kingdom, Laval. Their nation will gain very little from taking over Durin, but they will lose a lot if Laval takes over Durin. When a worried Liz asks, "What about the feelings of the people of Durin?" Alicia replies that they should first think about the safety of their own kingdom. Soon, Liz gets what Alicia is trying to tell her and replies that if the country of Durin makes modifications in their exports, they can earn greater profits, and soon everyone starts praising Liz. After the party, a tired Alicia is on her way back, but she stops to look at the paintings of the royal family. Soon the prince approaches her and tells him about the origin of the painting and the royal members, and soon he takes Alicia's hand to escort her out of the royal palace. Alicia can't help but wonder why the prince keeps smiling at her when he should be doing that to Liz. The next day, while she is practicing swordsmanship, Henry approaches her and Gil, and when he learns that Alicia wishes to be villainous, he can't help but keep laughing at her. In the carriage, Henry tells Alicia that anyone can fall for a girl like Liz, but Alicia can't help but wonder if Liz is using magic to manipulate people. Moreover, a lot of events happening in this world are very different from the game. Later, when she is on her way to the library with Gil, a bunch of rogues hit Gil and kidnap them. And when Alicia opens her eyes, she finds herself locked in a storage shed with a wounded Gil. Soon the 3 kidnappers walk inside the shed, threatening Alicia that she will be killed if she continues to act like a brat. Alicia tries to use her magic to free herself, but a restricting collar on her neck doesn't allow her to use any magic. The kidnappers start thrashing Gil, and Alicia yells in anger, asking them to stop hurting a kid. But when the kidnapper continues to hurt them both, Alicia kicks one of them and frees herself. She then uses 2 daggers to deal with the rest of the kidnappers, fighting like a real villainess, and breaks their bones. When the 3rd kidnapper tries to attack her, Alicia breaks his sword in 2 halves, and when he tries to escape, she throws a log at him. When she tries to attack him, Liz comes out of nowhere and restrains her with magic, saying that Alicia is trying to kill an innocent man. Despite Gil's explanation that the guy is the bad one here, she didn't release Alicia, and the man gets a chance to attack her, but suddenly the prince takes the knife with his bare hands to save Alicia. Soon the policeman takes the 3 away, and the prince looks at a wounded Alicia. Soon everyone comes running towards them, and Alicia's brother Albert runs towards her in worry. Liz tells him that Alicia tried killing an innocent man, and Albert becomes angry, saying that Alicia could have used some other method to save herself. When an upset Alicia asks if he will not raise his sword if his family is in danger. He says that he won't, and Alicia says that he has forgotten his values as a knight. Everyone looks at her with suspicion except the prince and brother Henry. Soon Liz starts speaking like a mad lady obsessed with idealistic values, saying that Alicia should have waited for her to save her and believed in their friendship. But as soon as she said that Prince Duke came to rescue her because of Liz's faith, Duke suddenly turns extremely angry and traps her inside his ice magic. He yells at Liz, saying that she shouldn't be so full of herself all the time because he just came to save Alicia. Seeing the conflict, Henry calms them down and quickly heals Alicia, but it turns out that Alicia lost her tooth while fighting with the kidnappers. Liz runs forward to help Alicia, but the prince yells at her saying that she doesn't have to do that because he has already arranged for her treatment. Soon Duke scoops Alicia in bridal style and, despite her protests, starts carrying her towards the royal castle, while Gil is being carried by Henry. Alicia wriggles in his hold, saying that he doesn't have to be so protective of her, but Duke hugs her and whispers that she is allowed to do whatever she wants to, but she shouldn't endanger herself because that nearly kills him. Hearing this, Alicia soon feels warmth taking over her body as she realizes that the prince might like her. When Alicia opens her eyes, she is flabbergasted to find herself sleeping next to a half-naked prince. She wakes up with a jolt, her eyes wandering all over the prince's toned abs. She calms herself down, trying to think of ways to escape, but soon her evil side takes over, asking her to seduce the prince and snatch him away from the heroine, while her good side tells her to not go against her villainous integrity. She decides to escape before the king wakes up, but he stops her from doing that. He shows her the diamond necklace, saying that he got it back from the thieves. She asks Alicia to come closer, so he can put the necklace on her, and soon he leans in to kiss Alicia. But before he can do that, Gil abruptly throws open the door. In a swift movement, Alicia throws Duke across the bed in a funny position. Hearing the commotion, Henry also enters the room and with an amused smile says that he doesn't mind Duke having a relationship with his little sister, but he should take her consent first. Later, Gil tells Alicia that he was worried when she didn't wake up. Alicia replies that he should worry about himself since he was badly hurt, but Gil smiles and says that Henry healed him and Duke too. Henry replies that Alicia was the one who got heavily injured and he is glad that she woke up. Then Gil goes on to show Alicia her broken tooth and asks if it can be put back in its place, but when Alicia declines, he asks if he can keep the tooth to keep reminding himself of this day. He doesn't wish to forget the fact that despite being Alicia's student, he couldn't help her. A worried Alicia tries reasoning with him, saying that she was the one the kidnappers were after and he just got caught as the victim. Gil looks at her with stern eyes, saying that it doesn't matter because now he wishes to become stronger to protect Alicia. Seeing an emotional conversation going between the two, Henry tells Duke that Gil will grow up to be a fine young man, and Duke nods his head in agreement. Henry tells Alicia that it was the student named Neil Johansson, whose family was behind this kidnapping. John is a die-hard follower of Liz, and at the tea party he was giving angry looks to Alicia for picking a fight with Liz. Alicia finds it interesting that an ordinary boy managed to trick her, and she won't let him get away easily without making sure that he repays. Henry replies that the last time he saw him, he was half dead by Duke's hands, and the prince replies that the Johnson family has already been punished several times by the royal court. Henry tells Alicia that it's forbidden to take the magic restraining collar, and on top of that Johnson gave it to commoners, putting the life of a student in danger. Hearing this, Alicia pouts in annoyance because there is nothing left for her to take revenge for. Soon the prince puts forward the possibility of the attack being planned by his father, but Alicia disagrees, saying that it was just meant to be a perfect training opportunity for the St. Liz. Duke replies that while he tracked down the mastermind and forced him to talk, an observer arranged by his father tracked down Alicia and told Liz where she was because the king wanted Liz to resolve the matter so she could grow as a saint. Duke apologizes to Alicia, saying that it seems like his father is brutally obsessed with the legend of the saint and he has nothing on his mind apart from that. Suddenly Gil asks if Prince Duke will end up marrying Liz Cather, as it's already decided by destiny. In a mocking tone, Duke replies that he doesn't care about destiny and has no intention of playing along with that. He looks at Alicia and tells everyone that he has chosen his own destiny because he will make sure that he has a happy ending of his choice. Hearing this, Gil quickly apologizes for suspecting the prince because he didn't like the prince acting all lovey-dovey with Alicia when at the end he will marry Liz Cather and break Alicia's heart. Duke smiles at him and replies that even if Gil is a commoner, status doesn't matter for him, and they both can take care of Alicia and protect her. The next day, Alicia runs off to the library again, determined that she will become stronger to avoid getting into a situation like this again. She is confused because the recent incidents and the behavior of people is very different from what happened in the game, but she makes sure to accept this reality. Alicia complains to Gil that she can't move beyond level 80 of magic, and Gil reassures her that she doesn't have to worry because she has already done more than enough for her age and Grandpa Will has asked her not to rush things. Alicia says that she needs to work harder because she can't just be satisfied at level 80. When Gil tells her that she should marry the prince and become his wife, she replies that there is no fun in being remembered as someone's wife, and she wishes to make her name as the greatest villain of all times. Soon a maid informs Alicia that her father wants to see her. When Alicia learns that her father no longer wants her to be Liz's watcher, she turns a bit annoyed, saying that it was by being her watcher that she got a quick admission in the academy. Her father replies that she can enroll normally once she turns 15, so there is no need to get herself in trouble now. When Alicia doesn't listen, her father sets the condition of reaching level 90 and above if she wishes to be Liz's watcher again, because the heroine is already above level 90 in all areas, and in order to not give up, Alicia takes on the challenge. It's been a month since Alicia has gone to a nearby forest and hidden herself in a hut with a magical barrier around it, in order to study level 90 of magic. She won't let anyone near it while the maids and Gil keep looking after her from outside the barrier, sending her food and water. On the other hand, Gil continues to stay with the servants who take good care of him, feeding him decently, and Gil resolves to live up to the expectations of Alicia. He regularly visits the library to learn about important things. One day when Gil is studying in the library, Alicia's father visits him to give him a magic potion named Avel that he will need to move past the barrier of Lone Village while Alicia is not here. A nervous Gil asks Alicia's father why would he give him this important potion. He replies that earlier he used to give it to Alicia, and now he can ask for it wherever he wants to visit his village. He tells Gil that he is very grateful to him for being with someone as strange as Alicia, as not everyone can understand her well. He tells Gil that ever since Alicia was a young girl, she would never hang out with girls of her age and used to keep her head in books as if she can't live without studying. And Gil is the only person she has become good friends with. He hopes that they both will continue to be good friends for a long time. Gil looks at Arnold and says that he looks like a regular dad, even though he always felt that he was strict on Alicia by locking her in a shed. Arnold smiles nervously and replies that he is already been scolded enough about that from his wife Layla, who accused him of child abuse by locking their daughter. Arnold tells Gil that it was Alicia who chose to lock herself in the shed, and he just set up level 90 for her because he wanted Alicia to give up on being Liz's watcher, but for some reason that just made her more motivated. If she would have failed, Arnold wouldn't have allowed her to be Liz's watcher anymore and would have sent her to the academy when she will be 15. Gil replies that once Alicia sets her mind on something, she does it, so he should have a little more faith and trust in her, as she is a strong fellow. Arnold sadly says that he doesn't want his precious daughter to be involved with Liz Cather because being on the wrong side of conflict with her will put Alicia's life in danger. Moreover, his son Albert has also changed after meeting Liz, and he is not sure if he will let Albert succeed him anymore. Even the king paid a visit to Arnold and apologized about the incident, but he is sure that he wants Alicia to continue as Liz Watcher because she is the saint. When Gil asks if Liz can really save the kingdom, Arnold replies that he is not sure about that, but Liz's extraordinary magical talents can prove to be useful in the future. Once she graduates, she will be given the title of the saint and put to work for the kingdom, and same goes for Alicia. Anyone who possesses extraordinary talents will be put to use for the kingdom, and if she was a powerless girl, he would have protected her. But as a head of the 5 noble families, he too will end up using her. Hearing this, Gil replies that Alicia is not a pitiful girl who will let anyone use her, and on top of that, she considers all the nobles as weak wimps who lack magical abilities and use young kids for the kingdom. He adds that Alicia will train him well, and he will always be on her side. On the other hand, the village of Lone is celebrating potato harvest after Alicia and Rebecca helped them learn more about growing crops. Rebecca is helping the villagers harvest the potatoes, and she is excited to tell Alicia about the success of their plan once she visits them. Suddenly, a thief takes a sack of potatoes and runs off, but a handsome man named Nate catches him. Rebecca thanks him for the favor, but an annoyed Nate asks why they would go on planting huge fields with potatoes. When Rebecca asks him to help them too along with his strong friends, he replies that they should not blindly believe a noble chick like Alicia who thinks that one day this village will become free. He accuses Alicia of being just like any other noble who feels good after doing charity work. Yet Rebecca and Grandpa will blindly believe her, and now she no longer visits them too. Rebecca seriously replies that Alicia is not someone who will get bored of someone and abandon them, and even if she does, she doesn't mind because she already taught them to grow crops, and if it was charity she would have just got food for them. But what she did give them is knowledge of crops which can be grown where it's always cloudy. And thanks to her they can live better lives now by working with their own hands, and now to move forward and achieve more is all in the hands of the villagers. The next morning, the king calls Duke and asks if he is involved with the village of Lona, and then tells him that he has learnt it from Alicia's written proposal. He goes on to tell him that even though Liz's essay has led to a growth of public sympathy for that village, the problem cannot be solved with sentimental ideals alone. But Alicia has built up on Liz's essay and provided good solutions and constructive arguments. Then the king asks Duke if he is interested in working for the reformation of that village, which has always been used to lock innocent people and isolate them from using magic at large scale. Liz has called it a humanitarian issue, while Alicia has called it a waste of magical skills and land. Moreover, the issue of the village has been put off by generations of kings because of its complexity and many other governmental matters. Duke looks at his father with concern, saying that he should not burden himself with everything at the same time since all the provincial matters take time to resolve. He tells his father that he will take up the reformation work of the village and he should get some rest. It's been 6 months since Alicia has been locked away in the shed, practicing her magic every day. Henry visits Gil and tells him that Alicia's magic is becoming stronger day by day and she is the most talented of all the siblings. Gil tells Henry that once Alicia told him that she is training hard and studying her ass off because even though she can't be like Liz or get close enough to her in level, she needs to have enough confidence to face her. Hearing this, Henry wonders why Alicia will go to extreme lengths to face Liz when she is already talented enough to cast many magic spells, and competing against her is unthinkable for anyone. At the academy, Henry complains to Duke that no one knows a thing about his little sister, yet they keep talking shit about her behind her backs. Duke replies that if they don't stop, then he will make sure that they are expelled by the end of the day. Soon, Curtis joins them saying that they should calm themselves, but Duke angrily replies that if he wants to complain, then he should take it up with idiots who keep saying stupid things. Suddenly, Liz comes to them with a gang of students who keep following her like chickens, saying that she has baked a cake for Duke to lift up his mood. But Duke just leaves, saying that he is not in a mood for all that fuss. While climbing down the stairs, he can hear the students whispering that Alicia separated Liz and Duke as soon as she entered the academy. Before he can react, Finn pushes him forward, informing him that it's interesting how these girls used to hate Liz, but now within a few days they are head over heels in love with her, and he wonders how can someone's feelings change so quickly. Duke heads out to the garden and asks his secret informer Mel to find out more about Liz, and there might be a mechanism behind her ability to make everyone fall in love with her and also get him all the information about the village of Lona. 2 years have passed, yet Alicia is still in the shed, and there's less than a year left for Liz to graduate. When Arnold asked his daughter to enroll in the academy as she has turned 15, she declined the offer, saying that she has something good to show him. Soon a maid informs that Alicia has almost completed her training, and hearing this, Gil rushes to the hut where Alicia is and realizes that the barrier is gone. He unlocks the door and is spellbound to see a more beautiful Alicia who looks at Gil and smiles. Gil is speechless after seeing Alicia, who has grown prettier, with black locks of hair and a lovely face. She walks over to Gil and tells him that he has grown taller, and that she couldn't recognize him at first. Then, with excitement washing all over her face, she declares that they will visit the village of Lona first. It's been 2 years since Alicia visited the village, and now she is excited because she has something good to show them. Alicia is surprised to see that Lona looks cleaner and more developed than before. Gil informs her that all the villagers are working together along with Rebecca to improve their conditions. Soon Nate, who is working as the guard of the village, approaches them and recognizes Alicia and says that she is the reason that their village has improved this much. He tells her that he is glad to see no deaths in the village this year, but he still doesn't trust her because she disappeared for 2 years without telling them anything, and now she is back again. Alicia finds this dude interesting, so he calls him for a sword duel. But Nate is a bit hesitant since Alicia looks like a weak little girl, but when Alicia mocks him, he agrees to fight with her. A little later, Grandpa Will and Rebecca notice a group of people causing a commotion, and when they approach them, Rebecca calls out Alicia, who has Nate pinned to the ground. Everyone accuses Alicia of using magic because no one has ever defeated Nate, but Nate says that Alicia's talent is real, and she didn't use any magic to defeat him. Alicia looks at a defeated Nate and says that she was able to defeat him because she was born in the family of nobles with all the facilities, and she spends her days training with her brothers who are excellent swordsmen, but compared to her, Nate doesn't have much. Nate lashes at her in anger, saying that she is being a show-off on purpose. So Alicia replies that instead of complaining all the time, Nate should use her for his own advantage since he likes Rebecca. He must become strong for her. Hearing this, Grandpa Will steps forward and exclaims that Alicia is just like she was before, and Alicia quickly runs off to hug him. She tells him that she has learnt dark magic up to level 91 and soon envelopes him in a shield of dark magic and chants a few magic spells, and to everyone's surprise, one of Alicia gets transplanted in Grandpa Will. Now Alicia is left with one eye, but Will is upset. So Alicia tells him that he wouldn't have asked anyone for their eye. That's why she did this, so he can see everyone. While returning home, Gil asks Alicia if she feels weird with one eye. She replies that it does feel a bit strange, but it's not painful. When she returns home, an overprotective Arnold faints after seeing her daughter without an eye. He asks Alicia if she had been through an accident while in training. She replies that she just lent her eye to someone out of her own will. After some time in his study, Arnold tells her that he knew that she is a girl who doesn't listen to anyone, but he never imagined that she would return home with a missing eye. Alicia replies that she is not a dutiful rich daughter that Arnold wants her to be, but she will continue to live her life according to her own will, and will not compromise on that. Hearing this, Arnold replies that he too will not give up on caring for her and congratulates her for achieving level 90. He allows Alicia to continue being Liz's watcher. Later, Alicia returns to the academy and everybody has their jaws on the floor when they see a troublemaker Alicia dressed in all black and with a black patch on her eye that's made by Gil. Alicia is glad to make a good scary impression on the academy students, just like a true villainess. While Alicia is on her way to the school building, a girl with brown hair stops her, asking her to return and not set foot in the academy again. Alicia recognizes her as Liz's follower who would have been angered by how Alicia treated their role model while pointing out her mistakes in the essay. The girl goes on to mock Alicia, calling her a shallow girl who only cares about outer appearance, unlike Liz who treats everyone equally inside and out. Alicia replies that most people judge others based on their looks. In fact, she also just criticized Alicia based on her appearance. The girl is speechless after hearing Alicia's wise argument, but then she blurts out that Alicia's filthy inner self is showing on the outside. Hearing this, Alicia decides to mess with her a bit and calls her out for keeping her hair with split ends and wearing a skirt that makes her look fat. The girl nervously yells that Liz said that she looks good the way she is, so she doesn't care about dressing up. Alicia walks closer to her and looks at her face, saying that if that's the case, then why does her hair keep covering her face even though she has beautiful freckles? Hearing the commotion, Liz comes out while calling Jane, the girl that got into an argument with Alicia, and Jane complains to Liz about Alicia making fun of her appearance. Liz asks Alicia if she stopped coming to school after the incident with the kidnappers when she stopped her from killing one. Alicia asks her to stop being so full of herself because that's not the reason, and Liz tells her that she is guilty. She tells Alicia that she was sure that she would save her at that time because ever since she was young, she was a lucky girl and everyone believed that she would make everyone happy. The goody two-shoes asks Alicia to believe in her because one day she will save her too. Hearing this, everyone starts praising Liz for being a kind girl who looks after others. But Alicia walks towards her and whispers in her ears that she knows that Liz hates her because on that day when she saw Alicia fighting the kidnapper, she just restrained her, but given her extraordinary talents, she could have restrained both the kidnapper and Aaliyah. Hearing this, a panicky Liz replies that it's not true because a saint like her doesn't have rough feelings towards anyone. Hearing the word saint, everyone gasps in surprise, and Alicia realizes that Liz spoke about her being the saint without thinking that many people are listening to her. Liz asks if she will be happy to see her as the bad person, and Alicia replies that if she is a good person, then she should take good seriously instead of spitting lip service all the time and acting like an opportunist. She accuses Liz of talking about saving people all the time, but she doesn't have any plan to achieve that. So if she is going to keep talking about ideals, then she should work hard to fulfill them. At the academy, the professor praises Alicia and Gil for being too good for their ages. He looks at their essays and comments that there must be good tutors in Arnold's household to teach Gil. But Alicia replies that Gil has done all the studies independently. The professor says that it is a shame that Gil is a commoner. If he would have been a noble, he would have been able to use magic, but no matter what, he promotes them both to the higher level of the academy for advanced studies. While on their way to the class, Gil asks Alicia if there are limits to what a commoner can do. She replies that since only nobles can use magic, it often limits the commoners from advancing to higher levels. Moreover, she thinks that it's unfair that nobles get all the good education while commoners are not needed to be employed, since nobles can fulfill those tasks. Just while they are talking, Prince Duke appears in front of her out of magic and looks at Alicia with both worry and relief. He asks Alicia why she gave her eye to someone. She declares that it's none of his business, so he should stop bothering her. The prince holds on to her and angrily replies that she doesn't know how he felt while watching over her across all those years. Alicia sees a genuine emotion of sadness and worry in the prince's eyes, but instead of assuring him, she lashes out at him, saying that she never asked him to watch over her or take care of her. Hearing this, Duke takes a step back, apologizes to Alicia, and walks away, saying that he should go and get some fresh air. But Alicia feels guilt and dread washing over her as she realizes that she messed up everything with the prince. Seeing her acting like a brat, Gil declares that if this is how she wants to be a villainess, then she is a lame person who doesn't know how to recognize her feelings. After yelling at the prince, Alicia feels shaky and nervous with her emotions all over the place. But gathering her courage, she takes a deep breath and heads to the new classroom the professor has assigned to her. As soon as she walks inside it, everyone including Liz looks at her in surprise. Without flinching, she tells them that the classes in lower grade were too easy for her, so she is promoted to the highest grade. Everyone starts calling her a vulgar woman who speaks like a brat and feels like she is on top of the world. But Liz asks everyone to stop being cruel to Alicia and extends her hand towards her, saying that she is so happy to be classmates with her. After the class gets over, Alicia notices that Duke has left without even looking at her. Soon Liz walks towards her asking if she would like to join her for lunch, but Alicia politely declines, saying that she doesn't wish to be friends with her. But Liz keeps on requesting her, saying that up until now she has got everything she wanted, so she is convinced that Alicia will soon become friends with her. Alicia realizes that Liz will never hate her no matter how much she tries to annoy her, and that makes her a perfect match for Prince Duke too. Later, Alicia is sitting alone with Gil in the academy garden, upset about the fact that she is comparing herself to the heroine despite being a villainess. Gil says that it's unusual to see Alicia worried about things, and she replies that it's because Prince Duke is special to her, and whenever she is in front of him, she can't act like a proper villainess. Gil suggests that she should stay away from him for some time to figure out what Prince Duke means to her. Alicia replies that she won't do that because that will seem like she is running away, and a villainess never runs away. Alicia walks into the dining hall and sees Prince Duke sitting alone at the corner, while everyone is busy having their lunch. With a smile on her face, she walks over to him and jokes that he looks surprisingly unbothered when she thought that he would be hurt and sulking like a child. The prince sadly asks if that's what she wanted. She disagrees, saying that she never asked for his help, but she is truly happy to know that Duke was worried about her. She bows down and apologizes for being a brat to him before, and soon all the eyes pop out when Alicia gently holds Duke's chin, forcing him to look into her eyes. In a charming manner, she tells him that if she would have been in his place, she would have never watched over him from afar, but protect him in the open with her 2 arms. With Alicia being all bold and blunt with him, Duke is a bit taken aback. But he soon laughs and replies that from now on, he will not hold back, so Alicia better be ready for everything. Seeing them being all lovey-dovey with each other, a jealous Liz can't hold herself, so she walks over to Duke and asks him to join the meeting for the music festival and give his input. Hearing this, Alicia suddenly realizes that the prince really was upset after she lashed out at him, and because of that he was ditching all the meetings. Soon a blushing Duke excuses himself and walks away to attend the meeting, while a jealous Liz looks at Alicia and excuses herself too. Seeing this, Alicia realizes that Liz has become her romantic rival, but now she will work hard to achieve her goal of becoming the greatest villainess who can compete with the heroine and become her rival in terms of ability too. While on her way to the classroom, a nervous blondie approaches her and asks Alicia to follow her, but Alicia asks her to explain her reason for asking for her help. When the blondie refuses to tell, Alicia starts walking away but soon stops when the girl drops her books. She uses her magic to lift them and hand them back to the blondie and then bids her goodbye. Alicia walks towards the gardens where everyone is having a good time, but seeing her they all start giving her angry looks. Alicia waves a piece of paper in front of their faces, saying that she received an anonymous invitation to come to the rose garden by someone. Soon, Liz's fangirl Jane walks in with the same blondie that Alicia met before following her. Jane points at the blondie and accuses Alicia for bullying her friend Marika. She tells everyone, since Alicia is jealous of Liz because she can never be like her, she harasses Marika to release her anger. Soon Marika takes out a device from which a recorded voice of their previous conversation echoes, and everyone looks at Alicia with accusing eyes, saying that Alicia used violence with Marika. Soon Alicia realizes that Marika used a high-level spell to edit her voice and make it seem like she hit her, but Alicia mentally appreciates Marika because she almost pulled a villainous move on her. Everyone starts forcing Alicia to apologize to Marika, while Liz goes on to question why she messed with a kind girl like Marika. But suddenly a girl named Carol comes forward and asks everyone to stop treating Alicia as the bad guy when she has already clarified that she has not harmed Marika. While Alicia is wondering why Carol would cover for her, the girl asks everyone to stop accusing Alicia based on just an audio, declaring that they should hear both sides before making a judgment. Soon Jane starts accusing Carol for not trusting Marika's evidence and asks her to present evidence against her. But before Alicia can step in to help Carol, a pink-haired girl named Mel, who has recorded the actual conversation between Alicia and Marika, tells everyone that she has the real evidence. Mel smiles at everyone and declares that she will take the recordings to the Earth Magic Professor to uncover which is the real one. Fearing that she will be caught soon, Marika confesses that Jane asked her to play this trick so that she can turn everyone against Alicia. Realizing that she has been trapped from all sides, Jane starts blabbering that Alicia always keeps insulting Liz all the time because she is kind and strong, and that is why she wanted to punish Alicia. Soon Liz steps forward to apologize to Alicia because Jane treated her badly because of her. But Alicia replies that Liz was not the one who set this up, so she doesn't need to apologize to her. Soon a bubbly Mel steps forward and cheerfully asks Alicia to follow her because she has so many questions for her, and Alicia replies that she too is curious about her. When they are in the corridor, Alicia asks Mel about her identity and how she managed to record everything at the perfect time. Moreover, she never saw her while she was talking to Marika. Hearing this, Mel jumps at Alicia and happily exclaims that she is her biggest fangirl and she loves to admire her silky black hair, glass skin, and sharp words that come out of her mouth. Then Mel tells Alicia that she hates Liz Cather because she puts her nose in everyone's business, thinking that she is smart and can understand everything. Most people should be annoyed by this, but what confuses Mel is everyone ends up becoming her followers instead. Yet there is no sign of Liz using any magic to manipulate their brains. She continues that there are few people who are not her followers, but most of them are quiet because they don't want trouble. Hearing this, Alicia realizes that there are people who are not Liz's followers. Soon Mel attaches herself to Alicia again and happily reminds her of the day when she criticized Liz's essay and threw the papers in the air like a baddie, and seeing that she fell head over heels in love with her. Before she continues to irritate the out of Alicia, Duke holds Mel's head, asking her to stop, and apologizes to Alicia for his subordinate's idiotic behavior. He explains to Alicia that Mel is his personal subordinate and spy who collects information for him. She might be a bit bubbly and excited all the time, but she is an earth magic genius who acts like his eyes and ears. Soon Mel starts explaining to Alicia that with earth magic, anyone can record voices and hide themselves without being seen, and that is how she was able to record the conversation secretly. The prince tells Alicia that he had appointed Mel to keep an eye on her, but he didn't tell her sooner because that would have restricted her freedom. But after their talk in the dining room, he decided to tell Alicia about everything. The prince declares that he wishes to protect her with his own two hands, and a flustered Alicia quickly bids the prince goodbye and walks away with a blushing face and a heart beating wild in her chest. After some time, when she goes to Lona village, Rebecca happily tells her that Grandpa has become more active and soon will greet Alicia and Gil. Then he gives them a big shock when he reveals that he is the older brother of the current king and his full name is Will Seeker. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and watch the video on your screen next.